Hello, hello. I am Coach J, or as some people call me, Mr. J. You could call me anything you'd like, just don't call me late for dinner. But bump. And that's not even my corny dad joke. I always like to say a corny dad joke before I start the class because I truly believe laughter is definitely some of the best medicine. So, for this Halloween day, which by the way, do you love my shirt? For this Halloween class, knock knock, who's there? Boo, boo hoo. It's only a joke. You don't have to cry about it. But All right. If you can take two deep healing breaths with me, preferably through the eye, through the nose, out through the mouth, with your eyes closed. However, any way you feel safe. So you're breathing in the delicious warm cookies that you just made and took out of the oven. But they're too hot to eat, so you have to cool them down. Or it's dinner and you just made some pizza and you took it out of the oven. And you're cooling it off before you eat it. All right. Today, I just basically wanted to talk about trust in general. Not necessarily trust after betrayal, just trust in general. Because if we get the basic concepts of trust in general, then we can learn to implement those in our everyday lives, even setting forth boundaries so we don't have to work on rebuilding trust because it was broken in our relationships. All right. Um, just despite the fact that there's challenges, trust has numerous benefits. It fosters deeper connections, intimacy, emotional support within relationships. Feeling trusted and trusting others also contribute to greater emotional resilience, satisfaction, and overall well-being. I mean, we're just happier people when we feel as if there's people in our circle that we can trust. Trusting our own heart and mind in others is definitely a skill, and it's something that we really need to thrive. Being our most authentic selves, marching to the beat of our own drum and chanting or charting a course that aligns with our own values and rely on trust is something we all want, need, live for, strive for, and seek. Trust is very big because trust get equals safety. And what how we build up to trust, one of the ways is predictability, which I'll get into. So basically, in this very short class, is a short class, I want to go over some of the basics of building trust, maybe like six or seven components. And they're not in any particular order. However, they are all equally important. So number one, building trust requires consistency, integrity, and mutual respect. It often begins with small interactions that demonstrate reliability and goodwill. These interactions create a sense of predictability and safety, as I just said, reinforcing the belief that the other person can be relied upon. And I say it all the time, trust is built in droplets, but lost in buckets. So you can spend eons putting pebbles on top of that mountain, and in one swipe, that mountain is down. Or you can spend eons building an ocean out of raindrops, and in one tsunami, that's gone. Um, so, continuously demonstrating reliability, honesty, and empathy reinforces trust over time. The second component, which is very important, like I said, these aren't in any particular order, but they're all equally important, is communication. Now, I always say the majority of people don't have a problem communicating, they have a problem effectively communicating or communicating effectively. Unless you're married to somebody who doesn't understand your language, you can talk. Unless you never learn how to speak, you can communicate. It's how do I best learn to communicate that's most effective with my partner or with whomever it is you're communicating with. Open and honest communication is crucial for building trust. When individuals express themselves clearly and listen attentively to others, they demonstrate respect and create a foundation for understanding. Now, what are some of those basics? It's listening without interrupting. You don't have to like, love, agree with what somebody's saying, but please give them the time to express their perspective. their lived experience. Then you want to acknowledge what they said. You want to validate what they said, maybe even repeat some of the key points of what they said before you respond. So oftentimes we're thinking of what somebody's saying, we're thinking of what we're going to respond to. We don't even get what they're saying. Then we want to interrupt them. We don't validate them. We don't acknowledge them. We just spew out what we want to say. And then they're doing the same thing. While we're spewing out what we want to say, they're not listening to understand. They're listening to respond. You got to slow the communication down. That's effective communicating. Reliability. So consistently following through on commitments and promises builds trust. When someone demonstrates reliability in their actions, it shows they value the relationship and respect the other person's expectations. This happens slowly over time, as we've all heard that trust, like I just said, is lost in buckets but earned in droplets. Uh, if you tell someone you're going to stop at the store, you need to really stop at the store. And if you don't stop at the store, you need to give them a courtesy heads up that you're not stopping to the store for whatever reason. All right, number 4, integrity. Acting in accordance with ethical principles and demonstrating honesty in your interactions, it fosters trust. Integrity involves being truthful and transparent, even when faced with difficult situations. Now, I'm going to tell you something, and some of you might disagree with me, even especially some of you professionals might disagree with me. I say it's so important to be transparent in every area. But let's just say you're watching this and you're rebuilding, you're trying to reconcile with your spouse, your partner, your significant other. Let's just say 18 months, 2 years after the affair is over. You went through disclosure, you went through therapy, you guys are doing well, and you're going through your purse or your glove compartment of the garage or what have you, find something the affair partner gave you. I wouldn't just throw it away and never bring it up. I would actually go to my partner, say, hey, just want to let you know, I found this. I'm going to throw it away. Do you want me to do anything else with it? You know, such as burn it or pour salt on it or whatever. Because first of all, your energy, your vibes, they're going to pick up on something's a little off that you're hiding from them. That's number 1. Number 2, there's a good chance your child threw away something that they're supposed to bring to school. So while your spouse is digging through the trash to find that, all of a sudden they come across the lipstick or the condom or whatever the case may be. And now you got a war on your hands. Even if you go into battle, even if you say to myself, okay, if I am honest with my spouse, I might go into battle. I'd much rather you go into battle than go into a war. All right. Number 5, empathy and understanding. Showing empathy and understanding towards others' feelings and perspectives helps build trust. When individuals feel heard and validated, and I just said this, they're more likely to trust that their needs and emotions are respected. Doesn't mean you have to agree with what somebody says. Just validate. Okay, what I hear you saying is you think it's important, or it's important to you that I put my dish in the sink when I'm finished eating. You might not agree with that. You might have a million reasons why you can or whatever. Wonderful. But just validate their experience. Or hopefully they're validating yours. Once trust is established, it requires ongoing effort and nurturing to maintain. Uh, you know, trust is not like a degree. You don't get an associate's degree or a high school diploma or a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or whatever, and you're done. Trust is like going to the gym. At first, you might have to work wicked hard. Then, after you get to even a place where you're comfortable, you still have to maintain. So, trust is never ending, it's lifelong. Number 6, respect. You know, respecting boundaries, honoring commitments, and valuing differences sustain trust and strengthen relationships. Now, a lot of people are watching thinking, well, I don't even know what boundaries are. And I'm just going to tell you 2 things very quickly. First of all, we have to have personal boundaries. What are those? Those are the things that we hold ourselves accountable to. I no longer am going to allow myself to live in guilt. I am refusing moving forward to let the negative narrative occupy my mind. So these are your personal boundaries. Then you have your external boundaries, such as you cannot, I don't want to talk about religion with Aunt Sally. I don't want to discuss politics with my in laws, whatever. One of the best ways to start to formulate boundaries is write down a values assessment. What do you value? For example, I value timeliness. One of the things I really gets my goat, and my kids would laugh at me if I said that in front of them because they call me oldie. One of the things that really upsets me or frustrates me is people that don't respect my time. So if people don't, that's one of my, that's a value of mine. So I invert that, turn it into a boundary. Those that can't respect my boundary of timeliness without some type of courtesy heads up, after an initial warning or talking to them about it, whatever, if it's a pattern, then I pull back from investing in that relationship. All right, number 7, taking responsibility and accountability. Everyone falls short of this, me included. When trust is compromised, addressing issues promptly, apologizing sincerely, and taking corrective actions are essential for building trust. Now, let me just say this. We are responsible for ourselves and our lives. 100%. We are 100% responsible for how we show up in our relationships. We have zero responsibility and accountability for other people's choices and decisions and moods. Let me repeat that. We are 100% responsible for us and our issues. We are 100% responsible for how we show up in relationships. We have zero responsibility or accountability for it. Listen, you can load a gun. You can load a gun to where it's loaded, but if it's sitting on your table, nobody gets hurt. If somebody makes the decision to pick up that gun, aim, pull the trigger, fire, that's when damage is done. So take 100% responsibility for loading the gun. And how can you make sure you learn from that and do better in the future? But take no responsibility for somebody picking up that gun and making a decision to hurt somebody from it. All right. Like I said, this is pretty much a quick class. It was 6 or 7 give or take components to building trust. There's a lot more to building trust, but I hope you got something out of this class. One of the things I will say before I close this class is make sure all of these components are coming from within. You have to be able to trust yourself. How do you trust yourself? Be reliable with yourself, be consistent with yourself, have integrity, because it's much easier to understand and lay the foundation and hold somebody else accountable to trust if you hold yourself accountable to trust first. Have a wonderful day.